our group's explanation of pages 9 through 11 for the chapter Skeleton of 9 and 8.
Dialectical tension is opposing forces that people experience in their relationships. They are important for rational development. The three dialectical tensions are 1. Integration tensions, 2. Stability tensions, 3. Expressions. The integration tension is the separation connection. Autonomy dialect, the tension between the need for integration and the need for integration. Wait, I'm sorry, can you? We're going to explain the gender differences of the three dialectical tensions. They are different because of the connection and the autonomy. Men prefer autonomy, females prefer connection. Men prefer privacy, women prefer openness. Men prefer productivity, women prefer novelty.
Now we're going to talk about operating 3 levels of dialectical tensions. These 3 levels generate by having a balance of independence versus interdependence, and moves from closeness to openness, which is how much we let people know, not everything, and moves to predictability to novelty, things we need to know.
This is the second phase model, and this model is also known as a dialectical perspective. This consists of 4 things. Number 1, autonomy to connection. Number 2, autonomy and connection. 3, autonomy, connection, synthesis. And 4, connection to autonomy. So this phase demonstrates how relationships are in flux. This impacts the main relationship. It shows how it affects relationships intra and interpersonally, and the 4 stages. The stage 1, this phase is where we define if we'll be in a relationship or not, depending on interaction between both people. Novelty is high because the person's new and it's balanced by script we have in rules and behaviors. Closeness is high in the relationship, but for the relationship to go any further, the openness has to be violated. The second one here, autonomy and connection, decides if we'll be in a relationship. Autonomy and connection balance out in this phase. The novelty is very high and is balanced because relationship rituals, such as text messaging, phone calls, hanging out between each other. Openness is high as well, and it's balanced out because the relationship is never really discussed. It's also a taboo topic. The third one is going to be autonomy, connection, synthesis. So the third one's going to be autonomy, connection, synthesis. Autonomy, connection have openness and closeness, which are both balanced, in intra and interpersonal level. This can change, and the balance can be altered easily. The 4th phase we're going to have is connection to autonomy, which is both high in novelty and openness. Novelty is high because there'll be conflict. Unless you go back to the 2nd phase, and establishes a relationship, and openness is high because of the conflict.
Now that we've talked about the tensions, we're going to talk about how to manage them. The first step is reaffirmation. That's recognizing that tensions exist. The example that Professor Gibbons used in the video is when you're having a conversation with somebody and you notice that there's something that they're not really comfortable talking about, so you sort of back off and you let them balance that out, which is another use of balance. That's going to be reaffirmation. The second step is alternation, and that's the time you spend with each relationship, whether it be with alternation is the time you spend within relationships, whether it be with a significant other, a family member, a close friend, or a classmates. It's how you devote time to each other. Whether on Monday you spend your day with your significant other, on Tuesday you spend time with your family, on Thursday you spend time with your family and your significant other, and then on Friday you spend time with your friends. It's just how you organize your time and how you give it to different people. Segmentation is how you spend that time. So if you know that you're the best thing for you to do is to read, and the best thing for your significant other to do is to go out and play tennis or something, how you segment that time is considered segmentation. Balance is negotiation. Balance is a negotiation between time or anything, really. Let's say you wanted to go to the movies, or your significant other wanted to go eat. A negotiation situation would be where you go to the movies and then eat after. You both sort of get what you want. However, balance can also have a connotation where you integration is collaboration with your relationships. So that's sort of talking about how you're gonna alternate your time, segment the time and then balance the time. So integration is just you talking to all your relationships, thinking about how you're going to spend that time. Recalibration is adapting. An example that Dr. Gibbons used was time around the holidays, is when usually you're used to sitting home, maybe by yourself or just with your close family, but then all of a sudden your whole family comes and you're sort of thrown off focus. That's sort of recalibration. These are sort of the things you should do when dealing with tension, and these two are things you shouldn't do. The first one is denial, and that's denying that tensions even exist. That's sort of putting these aside and sort of putting yourself in the relationship and just getting what you need. The example that Professor Gibbons used was that you sort of spend all your time with someone, and you don't recognize that you need moderation within the time, and you sort of give them their time. And after denial, that sort of leads to disorientation, and that's where it's gotten to the point where it's so bad that you're sort of thrown off balance and you're disoriented.